Yes. Yeah, I was looking for. She's beautiful. No, I'm looking at all the people out there.
One of the best sights I've seen in a long time is, I know I took a picture of it.
Whoa. No, you and Steve.
Yeah, I remember seeing it up
Yep.
there. Okay.
Yep.
All right, it's 6:30. Are we ready to start this? You're up and rolling. Okay. All right, it's 6:30. Call this meeting to order. Everybody rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Doesn't look like we have any. Correct, none. Skip that one. All right, presentations. Oh, I see. We're just on a list of, gotcha. All right. I don't see any presentations. Heather, we're getting down to that. Citizens' comments. Okay. Discussion items. The first one, fiscal year 2024 budget working meeting calendar. Everybody should have a copy of it. We're going to be busy, but it's not anything we haven't done in the past. Y'all make sure your microphones are on, please, if you're going to say something, and kind of pull it down. The first one, June 29th, is the community budget planning meeting. We had this one last year. Chief and I talked about it. Susan. And this is when we just kind of met with the public and kind of told them, ask them, well, what do you see needs for? And kind of gave them an idea about what we might be looking at. Okay. Anything else involved in that meeting?
No, man, I think you hit the nail on the head. We'll just cover a lot of what we've achieved over the last couple of years, what our budget plans are going into this budget cycle, and then just take input. So we'll have all the directors there. So citizens will have an opportunity to visit one-on-one with each one of the directors and sharing of their concerns. So it tend to work better. It worked better, I think, last year doing it in this format because we get citizens that come up that have different interests. So some may not want to engage or have any concerns related to the police budget, and some may not have any concerns about street budget. I don't know who that would be, but they may want to talk with specific directors. So it just allows for that better engagement and for directors to take that feedback as we go into working on our budget process.
Okay.
Could we give the residents enough notice that we are having this meeting?
If this calendar is approved tonight by you all, it will be posted tomorrow and we will advertise that. Yes.
Also, could we get some larger signs or just signs whatsoever? Not only the department, but the person's name,
Already planned.
big letters.
If
Okay.
you recall, I got yelled at last year by
Yes,
an older
I
gentleman.
recall.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that. I'm not gonna get yelled at this year.
And I knew the people. I'm going, I can't see what, so,
I-
okay.
Yes,
all right,
ma'am.
good. That's excellent. All right, so if you'll just go ahead and look down, there's no news. It's just a list for everybody. Put it in your phone, on your calendar, and show up and let's do next year's budget.
Is there any reason why one of them is for the on the weekend? I mean, on a Friday?
If you recall, that's what we did last year. Is we typically the expenditures portion of our budget workshop is the longest portion. That's a portion where we have each director come in and you can visit with them and kind of tear out their budget, so to speak. And it gives them an opportunity to engage with you and explain their budget. That's typically the longest process. So last year we scheduled this on a Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock. We provided lunch. We did this in the conference room in there. We'll probably have to do it out here this year just to give us a little bit more space. But that seemed to have worked pretty well for us this year or last
But why
year.
not on a Thursday?
I'm sorry.
Why not on a Thursday?
We can do it on a Thursday. I mean, this budget is this calendar is your calendar. If you guys want to change the dates, we're fine with that. Last year we did it on a Friday, so we just proposed doing it on Friday again as well. I think it was easier for anyone who worked full time to take off half a day on Friday to be here. I don't know, Ms. Renfro's situation may be different. She wasn't here last year. So I don't know how you want to work that, but this is your calendar. So you tell us when you want to do it and we'll make it happen. We've historically, we've tried to avoid weekends when we talk about expenditures, just because it's so difficult to get all the directors up here on a weekend.
Yes.
But again, it's your budget calendar. You tell us what you want and we'll make it happen.
No, but I'm saying why not on a Thursday? I'm not saying the weekend.
No, I'm just addressing all. I mean,
Oh,
again,
okay.
it's yours. Yep. If y'all want to do it on a Thursday, I wouldn't be opposed to a Thursday.
Well, the 29th is a Thursday, June 29th,
No, we're talking July.
July. I know, I'm saying there is one on Thursday
That's the town hall.
tonight. Uh-huh.
That's at
I'm
night.
saying it's on a Thursday,
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
We're here regardless, so you know.
June 29th. Yes, okay. All right, everybody good with that? Okay,
We don't need to take any formal action, but we would like to get kind of a general head nod from everybody on
Oh,
if these
okay.
dates are appropriate. Are we needing to change anything on here, or is everybody good with everything?
I also wanted to mention, because I know you were talking about the Friday. We will also have a Zoom option that you can zoom in and listen, and or we can record it later.
And you can
Okay.
participate by Zoom
Or
as well. I don't know if that
it's
was.
just. for
Yes.
discussion. It's just a budget work.
Okay, I'm just not sure on the day if I can take off that day. Matter of fact, actually, I'll probably not be here. I'll probably be in New York.
oh, that's gonna be a long distance phone call.
I'm going to need you to take off from New York to be here.
Yeah. Also, everybody noticed that July 18th and August 1st, we're meeting at 5 PM for the workshop and then 6:30 for the council meeting. Okay,
And 5 PM. I'm hoping I'll be back by August 1st, but I don't know. My daughter's going back. She's getting off maternity leave and going back to Fort Drum, and I have to get her. Probably gonna go up there for like 3 or 4 weeks, maybe.
that's okay.
So, but
just a
I can,
workshop.
like you said, I can probably zoom in on some of those. Yeah.
Those are just workshops where we just discuss and will be voted on. at those meetings.
Cool. All right. Moving on. Next thing is 2023 updated fee schedule. There are several pages to this.
Yeah.
Chief, I'm gonna turn this over to you.
So I mentioned last week that we have been working on the fee schedule. There's actually some updates that we've made already in addition to what you've got in front of you, but I wanted to put it in front of you so you at least had an opportunity to start reviewing it because of how many fees that we have identified in here. I talked last time about how our fee schedule has not been good about identifying all of the necessary fees. We need to make sure as we're proceeding forward, the city adopts the International Building Code, International Fire Code, International Plumbing Code, and those codes identify what permits may be required and what's not. And we have to make sure that we are identifying fees associated with any of those permits. As development has picked up significantly here in Everman over the last year, we have identified numerous fees that we have not set a fee schedule for. And our base fees have just been so far below the averages that we are essentially not covering our cost associated with issuing that permit. So there's several different things that go into issuing a permit. It includes the staff overhead, our staff working it, the processing of it. We contract with a third-party review who we have to pay. If that permit requires an engineer review, our engineer is not an employee of the city. It's a third-party engineer. So we have to pay the engineer to review that as well. So there's a lot of costs that can go into reviewing a permit. We need to make sure that we're at least covering the costs associated with that, with issuing that permit. Right now, we are very much upside down on that aspect. So we've been working hard. Chief Watley has been working very hard at working with Bureau Veritas, who's our third-party permit review and inspection firm, on assessing our fees and making sure that we are covering our costs there. And that's where a lot of these fees have come from, is either from conversations with Bureau Veritas, analysis of other like-size cities and like-size operations and what they're charging, as well as making sure that we're covering our basis with issuing a permit. So many of the fees in there are associated with that. The other changes in there, animal control fees. It's been a while since we've updated our animal control fees. If you notice, the adoption fee has gone up significantly, and that is because we are working now with veterinarians, and we also provide shipping of all animals. So anytime somebody comes in and adopts a dog from us, that dog is going out with full vaccinations and a microchip that the resident doesn't have to pay for. All that's covered in that adoption fee. So we had to up the fees to be able to cover those kinds of costs. But that's primarily the majority of it is just adding in, making sure that we've got all our fees covered, and then some updates that are desperately needed to be able to cover the cost associated with this year.
Would it be possible for you to give me an old copy or whatever, so I can see what's changed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And the format is going to be very different too, but yes, I can give you the old copy. I can send that out this evening.
Now, I have a stupid question, I know.
No such
but
thing.
Say for instance, I replace a roof or whatever, am I responsible for paying the fee, or is the roofer responsible for paying the fee?
Ultimately, the owner of the property is responsible for obtaining the permit. Now, a lot of times in engagement contracts, when you engage with a third party to perform any kind of service at the home, that's usually a part of that agreement, is that the third party will have in that agreement that they will be responsible for obtaining the necessary permits. So it kind of becomes a civil issue between you and the company if they fail to get a permit, but the owner of the property is the responsible party for getting that permit.
What if they don't get a permit and somebody discovers it?
Then typically the owner of the property can be fined.
Okay.
Yes.
Who is checking on the permits to make sure that they are issued?
So we've got our permit technician and code enforcement officer, both have the ability of doing that. Bureau Veritas Inspections also does that. We have our officers, and then obviously our firefighters who are, if they see any kind of suspicious work or we get a report that work's being done, questioning whether a permit's been issued or not, then we'll investigate that and then go out and follow up if needed.
Is there someone working on weekends?
No, there's not anybody working on weekends. Yes.
So how much would the fine be?
Currently, we do not have a fee assessing a fine for work without a permit. That is one of the additions that is in the proposed fee schedule. That fee would be essentially double the permit amount.
Oh, okay.
So if the permit amount was normally $250, then they would have to pay a $250 fine for working without a permit in addition to the $250 permit.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay.
For like high grass, what would that be? Residential, like high grass, what would that be up under?
So that's a code enforcement issue. The only time the fee schedule would apply is when we have a situation with high grass, code enforcement typically has to take their enforcement steps, which includes a 10-day notice of abatement. If they fail to abate, then they'll issue a citation or a summons to appear in front of a judge. The judge typically makes a ruling on it. Usually, in most cases, it gets resolved by that point. Our prosecutor and judge are pretty good about working with residents on just making sure that they abate the issue rather than issuing fines. If for whatever reason it continues after that, then the code enforcement officer has the ability of getting an order to abate the issue from the judge. And if we get an order to abate, then our crews go out and perform the work that's necessary. And those fees for performing the work are what is identified in the fee schedule.
Okay, but what would you find an individual?
It's up to the judge every single time. As far as the ticket, yeah, that's completely up to the judge. The city doesn't set the fines. It's completely up to the judge on what that fine amount is. It's a misdemeanor offense, so it's up to $2,000. Normally, the fees are somewhere in the $150 range, somewhere in that ballpark. But again, that's the judge's responsibility.
To be able to find out if, let's say, a driveway was put in, and do we call the city to see if they had the permit to put in the driveway?
So if you wanted to find out if there was a permit going in, you'd have to go through an open records request.
Okay.
And those are open records,
Mhm.
and we can issue those out. However, I think the easier way that we always encourage residents to do is if somebody feels like a permit wasn't issued, to please just notify us of that, and then we'll investigate. And if a permit wasn't issued, then we'll take the appropriate action to address that.
So right now, we still have one code officer.
We have one code officer.
One.
Yes.
Weren't two helping or something?
Oh, we were gonna have two.
Yeah, we have. So if you recall, we
Yes.
transitioned some folks around. The code enforcement officer is now a police officer within the police
Right,
department.
right.
Donna was supplementing that as best as she could, but we've also got all these developments that are coming in. For the month of May, we had over 135 permits that were applied for. That's roughly 6 to 7 permits a day. She is drowning in permits. So there's just absolutely no opportunity for her to focus on code like she would like to.
Okay.
But I can tell you the caseload that Corporal Dabbs has been working is double what the code enforcement caseload was before. He is processing a ton of cases.
I thought we were gonna use two police officers with the codes.
We have 2 that are certified, but we're also shorthanded in the police department, still
Okay.
understaffed in
All right.
PD. So I don't have the luxury of kind of getting them to do the extras right now.
Okay.
If we can ever get back up to full staff, then yes.
Okay, so do they ride around and see what problems or how do they determine, for
Yeah, it's a
So-
mixture of both. So he does our code enforcement officer, and are we getting off? I don't want to get too far off topic here.
well, I've just never seen, and I see high grass and stuff all the time. I was just wondering how that works.
Sure. And I can fill you in on that with a staff report. We can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you down there. All right, next is requests for submissions from firms of certified public accountants to perform the city's annual audit, issue options on related financial statements, and to prepare its annual comprehensive financial report, the ACFR, based on the audit. Susan.
Okay, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. And so that you guys could have a copy of what I'm putting out there and the expectations that we have of any future auditors. So you can look at the terms of the engagement to dates, and anything else in here.
Have you had anybody nibble?
No, ma'am, it's being posted tomorrow.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh,
I'm jumping the gun, sorry.
And I have in here the timeline of the submissions for June 28th. So with the first meeting of July to be recommended for voting.
So the first meeting of July, you'll have something to tell us.
Yes.
Okay,
I will,
all right.
yes,
Okay, and we're gonna bank on your expertise on that. Okay,
I will come forward with all the information.
okay,
We'll get
thank you.
back. Mhm.
All right, next is interlocal cooperation agreement establishing concurrent enforcement jurisdiction between the city of Everman and the city of Fort Worth. Chief.
Just wanted to put this on your radar as we're likely going to be bringing this before you in the near future for your consideration and action to approve. This is an interlocal agreement with the city of Fort Worth to hopefully establish concurrent jurisdiction along our common boundaries. The city of Fort Worth and the city of White Settlement engaged into an interlocal agreement not that long ago, very similar to this, and it has proven to be successful. The driving force behind us pursuing this type of interlocal agreement is essentially the rise in violent crime that we've seen around Everman and all around South Fort Worth, and giving us the ability to perform traffic enforcement, high visibility enforcement, those kinds of things along our common boundaries to hopefully alleviate some of the issues that we've been seeing. We know that we have an apartment complex on our border that we've had a lot of crime stem from that has spilled over to the city of Everman. We've always had a good working relationship with the Fort Worth Police Department. But obviously 2 very different dynamics when you're talking about a big city police department operations versus a small town city operations. So we have the ability to be on scene of things within minutes, whereas Fort Worth may not always have that ability, may take a little longer for them to get to certain call types. Patrol efforts, Fort Worth Police Department is short-staffed by several hundred officers right now. So they're dealing with a staffing crisis on top of it. So this just kind of gives us the ability to patrol these areas, conduct enforcement, conduct investigations as necessary. We've had times where there will be a minor accident on the border. It will actually wind up being in the city of Fort Worth. Our officers responded to it, were first on the scene. Well, we can't just abandon that accident. something has to happen. And it may be a time period for Fort Worth PD where the call volume is just so long that it may take them 30 to 40 minutes to get there. Rather than our officer standing by, who's perfectly capable of working that accident, standing by and waiting for a Fort Worth police officer to get there, our officer could have worked that accident in 15 minutes and had that scene cleared and get it off of Fort Worth. And now everybody's freed up a lot faster. So really the purpose behind this is just really a force multiplier and to be able to deter some of the crime that we've been seeing, as well as clear incidents that may be on the jurisdictional boundary a lot faster.
Is there a cost?
No, there is no cost to this.
Will you be able to write tickets?
Yes, they will, but any citations that they would write would be to, if it's in the city of Fort Worth, would be to the Justice of the Peace Precinct 8
Right.
court. It would not be to our court.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So we're including the Family Dollar, which,
Yes,
yay.
yes, yeah. We wanted to include Family Dollar because they've asked for us to patrol those areas as well too, to try to help. So again, it's all just to try to be a deterrent as best as possible.
That's excellent.
Reason why I ask about cost is because on, for number 5 and number 6, paying for performance and right to audit.
Yes, so that portion of the agreement is pretty much identifying that we will that if we do have to pay for any service, it would be coming out of general fund, but there's no cost associated anywhere within the agreement. For an example to consider, if we needed to hire additional police officers to patrol for a special event, then we would be on the hook based off this portion of the agreement. We'd be on the hook for paying for those additional officers if we needed to hire Fort Worth officers to come in and work it, if that makes sense.
I see we're going to be able to cover all of the schools.
Yeah, that was another point that I didn't cover in my conversation just a minute ago. I'm sorry, but obviously Everman Police provides all school resource officers for all Everman ISD campuses. Currently, we have multiple campuses that lie in the city of Fort Worth. And we get small incidents all the time that our officers are perfectly capable of investigating and filing. Granting this concurrent jurisdiction will give them the ability to do that without taxing the Fort Worth Police Department system or having to wait on a minor report, on a minor case for an officer to come. Obviously, if there's any major incident, all 911 calls and everything are still going to the primary agencies. Priority 1 call types will still be addressed in the same fashion. Fort Worth will still handle the same thing for us. So it's not really addressing that, it just gives us the ability to kind of flex on these boundaries and address issues.
It's excellent. Good one. All right.
And Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, I know we're about to get down to the next one. We have some guests here for item E.
Yes.
I don't know if you would want to consider
let's-
maybe bumping that
let's
item up.
Do that one first.
Okay.
E.
Yes, ma'am. Item E.
Right. All right, so page 1 of the agenda, we're going to go down to number 8, item E. Resolution number 2023-06-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, in support of establishing a public-private partnership with the Tarrant County Food Bank to increase access to food through retail, home delivery, and emergency food assistance services, authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with Tarrant County Area Food Bank and providing an effective date.
And before we invite the Tarrant Area Food Bank to come up and make this presentation to you, just a couple of quick things. This is a great project that staff has been very supportive of and certainly recommends. We would look to pay for this out of general fund. There is a contingency fund within the city manager's budget. It's a minute amount compared to many other things, and the benefits certainly outweigh the cost here. But I'm going to let them, they're the pros at explaining all the benefits to this program, and they've really put in all the legwork. We're excited to be able to partner with the city of Fort Worth and the city of Forest Hill and the Tarrant Area Food Bank on this program. So I'll turn it over to Miss Julie, who's the executive director for Tarrant Area Food Bank,
Well,
right?
thank you very much. Yes, I'm Julie Butner, the president and CEO of Tarrant Area Food Bank. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for having me here tonight. Just want to share with you a little bit about the food bank. If you haven't been to the food bank, we are not a pantry. We are a food bank, and we house millions of pounds of food in our 80,000 square foot warehouse facility, and we have over 500 partner agencies, or what you might know as pantries, across the 13 counties that we serve. And I don't think I have a clicker.
I don't, if you just want to tell me next, sorry, we're not that fancy.
Right, okay, great. So make sure. So just a little bit about us. We have a vision of communities where everybody has the food that they need. And our mission is to empower our community through our partner agencies and our relationships with our partner agencies to end hunger and to improve health. We are 13 counties. In the 13 counties, there are 2.9 million residents. Of the 2.9 million residents, believe it or not, 450,000 go to bed at night hungry, wondering where they're going to get their next meal. We have our main facility in Tarrant County, and we have a satellite facility in Parker County that serves those that are highlighted in blue, so our rural communities. We are part of Feeding America, which is a national organization of 200 food banks across the United States. We are also part of Feeding Texas. This is a shared infrastructure between the 21 food banks that are in the state of Texas. This group does policy, environmental system change in Austin at the state level. And these are important relationships, especially that of Feeding America. It is through that relationship and that membership that we gain access to excess commodities and subsidies from the United States Department of Agriculture and the Texas Department of Agriculture. So over half of the food that we store in our 80,000 square foot warehouse is coming from growers and farmers and producers here in the United States and in the state of Texas. And that surplus allows us to take food to communities and to people who don't have access to food. This is generally how it works. Over half comes from the federal and state government. The other half of the food that we receive comes from food industry. So this is manufacturers, distributors, retailers, anything from U.S. Food Service, Cisco, Benny Keith, H-E-B, Tom Thumb, Kroger, local farmers, local ranchers that all provide donated food product to the Tarrant Area Food Bank. We inventory it, and then the 500 community partners, those partner agencies that we count on to help get the food directly to people who live in the community, they can order the food on an online shopping cart software, and then we repackage it and we take the food to their location. So whether it's a church or a Boys and Girls Club or a school or a healthcare clinic, we partner with all of those community service organizations to bring food into communities so it's easily accessible for the people who need it. Right here in Everman, if you look at our current fiscal year, which starts in October, we have provided 145,000 pounds of food, which is equivalent to 121,000 meals for the city of Everman. And that's just since October. That food has a dollar value of $279,000 and a distribution cost to the Tarrant Area Food Bank of close to $50,000 to get that food here. And this is just a 5-month period, a half a year, more or less. And you can see the numbers up there for last fiscal year, over 170,000 meals that were provided to Everman residents. We have partner agencies here, One Food Pantry, the Everman UNC, and then Dan Powell Early Learning Center is doing a mobile market. They don't actually have a brick and mortar pantry, so we're actually providing food in a mobile market. Not nearly enough partner agencies to provide the food that's needed for the residents here in Everman. And so this is one of the reasons why we came up with a solution. And this originated from the Tarrant County Commissioner. So Commissioner Brooks came to us and said, we've got some pockets of Tarrant County that don't have access to a retail store. It's more than a mile from their home to get to a grocery store. And we don't have the transportation to get them there, and they don't have their own transportation. What can you do, Tarrant Area Food Bank, to help us solve this problem? My colleagues here in the back, Jared Williams and Jim McPherson, have been working for a year now on a solution, as was requested by the commissioner. And so we have come up with a solution that we're very proud of. It's unique, and it is the first of its kind in the United States. It is a partnership with Kroger, and it will provide neighbors living with low access to grocery stores and who are living with food insecurity, a means by which to receive food at their home. So this is how it works. Kroger has come forward with $300,000 to support this initiative. They have a program called Boost. Boost is accessible and available for all community members. But with this particular program, it will provide home delivery of groceries directly to community members who qualify for the SNAP benefit. It's an online shopping platform. They can order whatever they want, so they're not at the mercy of what might be in a box that they would receive at the pantry. They actually have choice, and it's grocery store choices. And then the delivery service, it takes the food directly to the community member's home at no cost to them, and they will do that for 12 months. Tarrant Area Food Bank will provide assistance with the SNAP benefits. So this is the first time, too, I should mention, that SNAP can be used online. In the past, you always had to go into a grocery store and show your SNAP benefit. It's like a credit card, and then use it to pay for your groceries. And so this is the first online, which allows us to do a delivery program. So community members who are without a vehicle, or they're disabled, or they're elderly, they can actually receive the groceries to their home rather than having to find a way to go pick them up. So we will qualify and enroll community members into the SNAP program. If they qualify for SNAP, there will be a QR code for Boost that they can use and sign up for a one-year membership. My staff would also be responsible for enrolling them into the Boost program and then showing them how to use the online grocery ordering service. This is a private public partnership. As I mentioned, this is a request to help bridge a gap. So I want to share with you that the SNAP benefit is a federally funded benefit in the United States. And this is an interesting statistic to know. 82% of those who are eligible for SNAP in the United States are on the program. And that's a pretty phenomenal statistic. 82% of the people who are eligible to receive this benefit are signed up and they're receiving it across the country. In the state of Texas, that number drops to about 72, 73, 74%. And right here in Tarrant County, that number drops even further to about 50%. So half of our community members who are eligible for this incredible program from the federal government, it's funded at the federal level, half are not signed up to receive it. Half. Why? Why is that? And partially that is because we don't have enough support personnel to get them enrolled. It's not easy to enroll. If you do it online, it takes an hour. If you don't have a computer or a laptop or an iPad, or you don't know how to, or English is a second language, you're missing out on this benefit. And so that's what my team does. They sit down with the community member, they show them how to fill out the application, they ensure that it gets submitted, and then they follow up to make sure that they get the benefit. There is a federal grant that supports SNAP application process, and it's not up for renewal for another year. So under that federal grant, I have 3 staff members that are fully funded, and I need about 20. And so what I'm asking is, number one, you asked me to come up with a creative solution for food deserts to bring retail grocery access to those who don't have it, that are further than 1 mile away. And number two, I want to seek a solution to get people who are eligible for this benefit enrolled in this benefit so they can take advantage of these federal dollars on their grocery store. So it's kind of a twofold a benefit. This funding, I'm asking for a 4-month summer pilot, at which point I would come back and report out to you the results. And then we would want to run this program for 1 more year until the Tarrant Area Food Bank is eligible to reapply for federal funding to support this initiative. So you're filling a gap. For Everman, and this was all pro rata based on the number of people who are food insecure in your community. And so for Everman, that 4-month summer pilot is $3,200. And the 2024 for 1 full year is $13,500. I'm seeking approval for both the buckets, so 4 months and also the 2024. We're asking the same of Forest Hill, Fort Worth, and Tarrant County. Fort Worth has already approved their funding, so you can see they're funding $9,600 for the summer pilot and $40,000 for fiscal year 2024. We are in the approval process with Tarrant County. They have the most, what I say, skin in the game, right? And then we go later in the month to talk to Forest Hill about their portion. We've already given them the preliminary data and they seem to be in favor of it. So this investment, this 1 year return on investment is 494% for every 100 participants that are enrolled. They're receiving $28.85 in SNAP benefits, which is equivalent to about 1,000 meals. There's a local impact as well because those dollars are being spent at local Kroger grocery store. 22.5 million in total economic impact for the 5,000 participants that Kroger has been willing to support. And it will take us some time to reach that 5,000 well into the total length of the time. So this is the request that's on the table. Again, it's a pro rata share. It is a great demonstration. Jared worked extremely hard to bring these parties together. It's not easy to reach alignment and agreement on a solution. And Jim did a fabulous job getting Kroger bought into Tarrant Area Food Bank and our community being the first of its kind in the nation. What questions can I answer?
Start date.
As soon as possible. We had originally wanted to start this June 1st. Obviously, that has come and gone. As soon as we have approval from all parties, we would begin the training and hiring process. And we have some staff members that are already trained that we would allocate to this to get it started and off the ground, and then backfill those resources so that we have our full complement of resources.
For advertisement?
Yes.
Like, how would we advertise to our community?
We would really depend on our partner agencies as well as public locations. So often, and we advertise, Tarrant Area Food Bank does all this advertisement, but often we will go to a school, we will go to a church, we will go to a library, we will go to a healthcare clinic, and we set up shop. We have a vehicle that's on wheels that we can use if they don't have a brick and mortar location. This would be a great place, the Civic Center, where we could talk to community members and just start enrolling them in the program.
What happened to Mansfield?
Mansfield voted last night, not in favor of moving forward.
Everman's portion.
Can you go back a slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, was it the 3,000 something? Okay.
For the
I'm sorry.
Okay, then never mind.
And then 13,000.
It's 3,200, 3,200 for the 4-month summer pilot. We're asking for that right away. And then 13,500 would begin October 1st. And that payment would be due in October. So right away, it's $3,200 we're seeking, and October, it's 13,500.
If council approves this tonight, we'll make sure to include that 13.5 in the budget proposal.
I didn't hear you.
If council approves, it, if you elect to approve this tonight, we'll make sure to include that 13.5 in the budget as
Okay,
we move
okay.
forward for next year.
What are some of the requirements to be eligible for this program?
That's a great question. The requirements are set by the federal and state governments. And it is mostly screening for financial security. So questions like, what is your annual income? Do you rent or own your home? How many members live in your home? Do you have a car? What is the value of the car that you drive? And so they're looking at assets and looking at income to determine, whether or not you're sitting at poverty or below poverty.
What is the poverty income?
I don't know that off the top of my head. Do you, Jared?
Right, yeah.
Living.
I do, this is worth pointing out at this point, all of Everman is a qualified census tract. So all of Everman is considered above the poverty level. We have a enormous amount of people in need in this community. And not just in Everman, but in the surrounding areas as well. When you talk about Forest Hill, our poverty rate in Everman is more than double the citywide poverty rate in the city of Fort Worth. So this program, not only getting them enrolled, will help them with their food insecurities, but these type of programs that can get offered to the citizens will ultimately, hopefully help pull them out of poverty, because now they're spending less money on food insecurities and focusing money on other things that may be needed. So it kind of just opens up doors for other options as well. That's why these programs are great. Another reason why I think the program is just phenomenal, especially at this price point, is just the resources that our residents are going to have access to through the Tarrant Area Food Bank. We don't have any staff members in the city of Everman that citizens can come to and ask for help to enroll in programs like this. We don't have any expert employees on SNAP benefits and that can give them that assistance. To hire a part-time employee to do that would cost more than what is being asked to engage in this now. I mean, this is just a great opportunity all around for I think the city of Everman. And I love the example when we met that Julie shared about, Alice, when you talk about these people that have, if you're a single mom with children, you're probably working 2 jobs. What time do you have to get to the store? How much easier would it be to be able to get enrolled in these benefits and have this program and to spend more time even with your children or focusing on the other needs in life? The closest Kroger to us is several miles away. The store that we do have here in Everman is a great grocery store, but they don't accept all of the same benefits that some of the other stores do. So even though we have a grocery store here, we still have a lot of food insecurity because the benefits that many of our residents receive can't use those benefits here locally. So they're having to go to Crowley or Mansfield or make these drives, and it is hard on them.
Normally, when we have the food pantry, Everman ISD employees assist with, signing people up and stuff like that. So, maybe they, might be able to assist.
Which pantry are you talking
The
about?
Everman Food Pantry every third.
That's Tarrant County that comes out.
No, but Everman ISD is.
Well,
up
they-
to-
They help distribute.
Yeah, so that food,
Right,
that,
There's no paper.
Yeah, that is,
There's no paper.
you want to explain it?
yeah, that is different. So food distribution, we use a lot of volunteers. And when we do food distributions at local schools, oftentimes the employees of the schools come out and help distribute the food.
Right.
That's not the same.
Okay.
The SNAP benefit is a long cumbersome form. It takes an hour to complete it online. The people who assist with completing the application have to go through 6 weeks of training and become certified in order to help facilitate the training session. So it's very different. Yes. And SNAP is really the nation's #1 defense against food insecurity. For every 1 meal that the food bank can provide in a distribution, like you're describing, the SNAP program provides 9. So it
Ooh.
just carries family members who are struggling with financial choices much further. And then once they're enrolled for 12 months. And then at the end of that 12-month period, the hope is that they've stood back up that whatever, drug them down, they've found a job or, whatever their personal situation is, they're able to stand back up and they don't have to continue with the program. But if they can't, then they reapply. And if their finances are such that they're still eligible, then they are enrolled again for another 12 months.
Now, on families that are already on SNAP, is there a different process with that?
No, they get re-enrolled. They have to go through re-enrollment. And because we have access to 5,000 delivery options, if we have a community member, say in Everman, that comes up and says, hey, I'm already enrolled in SNAP, can I take advantage of this Boost program with free home delivery? We can enroll them in Boost with the free delivery. Now you will see Boost. You, me, the guy next door, the girl next door, we will see Boost. But Boost with free delivery is what Kroger has offered. And that is that $300,000 ticket. You and I would be paying for delivery to our home. But what Kroger has come forward with is free delivery. And honestly, it is the top of the line retail solution, because like all of us, we're here tonight, we're all working people. And to be able to go onto your iPad or your phone or your computer and order your groceries and have it delivered to your home, that's something of a new service and a time saver and a choice for our clients who typically don't get choice. When you go to a pantry, you get a box of food, it may or may not be something you eat.
What is the process of the 6 weeks training?
It's a lot of shadowing on the job training. There's paperwork that you need to know how to complete, how to utilize the online tool, how to follow up, because a lot of this paperwork is being processed a lot. Think about the entire state. And right now it's a bit of a crisis because during the pandemic, they waived the re-enrollment process. And so now every single person who is on SNAP or eligible for SNAP has to reapply across the state. The Health and Human Services Department in Austin is hiring 1,000 people to help process those benefits. So it's cumbersome, it's federal funding. They don't make it easy. They want to make sure you qualify for the benefit. So the training takes time and you have to complete a test and, you're shadowing somebody else for some period of time to make sure you know how to utilize the tool.
Now, when we get ready to notify our residents, and I guess maybe we would probably do a flyer or something like that. Would it list the income, the number of a family of 4 for $20,000 or something like that, because that's normally how that really helps
So
people.
we won't say that on the flyer, but we will do a broadcast so that community members know. We're familiar with how to do this already because we enroll community members in SNAP today. And so typically we identify a location, a host site. We advertise that we're going to be at that host site. And then we have our team members who are out there signing them up. Now, when they sit down with them, and we do have bilingual, we have a staff member that speaks Vietnamese, and we have multiple staff members that speak Spanish. We know that that's important. Sometimes language can be a barrier to the benefit. But we sit down with them side by side with the computer and walk them through how to complete it. We make sure they hit the send button and it gets down to Austin. And we would be doing the same thing with the Boost program. Let's get you enrolled in Boost. Here's your code. Here's your number. Here's how you order online. So it would be facilitated, making it very easy for the community member to learn how to do it. Yeah, it's important. And, one of the things we had talked about when we were in the development phase is, libraries, because our public libraries have computers. And so making sure that our community members can put the app on their phone. This is a new thing, that the Kroger has an app that takes SNAP benefits. And so they can learn how to do it on their phone. They can do it on an iPad. They can do it on a computer.
Yeah, our plan is to make a kiosk of some sort available inside of City Hall. So elderly residents that may not be technology savvy or know how to use the phone or even have a smartphone can actually come into City Hall right here in their hometown and place that order once they're enrolled. So The other thing too, Miss Allen, I don't think we would want to necessarily list the qualifications because it may deter folks. And even though they may not qualify for this benefit, there may be other programs that TAFB could help get them enrolled in. So I think we just want to get them in the door. We want to get them in and let's figure out what the needs are and go from there.
There's still such a stigma, and even self-reporting can be very embarrassing for people.
Is there a limit to how much you can order or how often you can order?
There's not on the, how often. There is a dollar limit you have on your card, and I'm sorry, I don't know that number off the top of my head, but there is a dollar limit, and so you're limited by the dollar, but significant amount of, enough groceries to take care of the family.
So once they get approved, is it automatic? They can just start? Or is there a time you have to wait?
There's a waiting period to get approved, right? Because it
Right,
goes down to Austin.
right.
And then Austin processes, make sure that the eligibility requirements have been met, and then they process a card that goes out to the community member, like a credit card that they can use online.
So
So,
once they get the card, then they can automatically start.
yes, ma'am.
Are there certain things restricted from buying?
There are, so you can't buy cigarettes or you can't buy alcohol. There is a list of items that are prohibited to purchase with your SNAP benefit. Yeah. Yes.
So the 4-month pilot, we could fund from the general fund now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then we could work the 13.5 into next year's budget.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not
Okay,
worried about
okay,
those dollar
okay.
amounts. Not for this program.
Okay, so we need any more questions or any more discussion?
Last question, I promise.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recommend, like having a town hall to inform people of, to bring people in at, at one time?
Yeah,
or
if
something like that.
if you
Well, not
vote to
now.
approve this tonight, we would be looking in your direction on what is the best way. I mean, your community, right? And so do our partner agencies know who they're serving. So we would be looking for the community to help advise us on where and when, but we would take responsibility for advertising and getting the information out. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we need to, well, that was the presentation. Now we need a motion to approve this.
Yes, ma'am. If you want to
Okay.
entertain a motion, yes, ma'am.
I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2023-06-03 as read. Second.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded. Mindy, would you hold the council, please?
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5,
Aye.
motion carried.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think we're excited about this. And again,
Thank y'all.
if you didn't catch on to the part that Julie said, one of the things is that this is the first program in the country like this. So we're really partnering with these other entities to really pioneer something new. And I expect it to take off across the country if it winds up working out well. So this is great to be at the front of the line here.
All right, so we're a pilot program again. Right. We
Thank y'all very
appreciate
much.
y'all.
Thank
You can stick around if you want, but I'm sure you get enough of city government, right?
Night, y'all.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna pop back up to A. All right. Consideration and appointment of members to the Community Safety Advisory Committee, the CSAC. Is Heather Underwood here?
She's not, she could not make it tonight, but I am still recommending her appointment. She did show up to the first meeting. She's very excited about being involved in municipal government. She participated a lot in the CSAC meeting. She's very open to getting involved. So I think she'd be a great addition to the board.
Okay, so we need a motion. How do we handle this one?
Yeah, if you'll make a motion in a
Okay.
second, you can still do the appointment tonight. We will take care of doing the oath of office and getting her administered. We don't have to have her here for you to make that appointment.
I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve Heather Underwood for the Community Safety Advisory Committee
For a 1-year term, please.
A second,
For a 1-year term, please.
for 1 year.
a second.
All right, we've had a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mindy, please poll the council.
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, moving along. B, approve the allocation of up to $150,000 of water and sewer funds for the completion of the 48th year CDBG project, water line replacement and upgrade project for South Race Street.
All
Chief.
right. So I provided a pretty lengthy staff report on this, trying to explain the situation. So just to recap on that, the original estimated project cost was $290,000, just over $290,000. That estimate was provided to us in 2022, prior to the adoption of fiscal year 23's budget. So we calculated utilizing bond funds and leftover grant funds from the Texas Water Development Board, the cost to be able to move forward with this project. At the time, we were estimating that CDBG was going to contribute $165,000 towards the project. The total project cost came in significantly higher than what was estimated, more than $100,000 higher than what was initially anticipated. And that has left us with some options here to choose from. Option 1 is essentially that we can approve the base bid, which came in at $407,000, just over $407,000. That will complete the project as it was initially applied for, which is a water line replacement project from Enon to about 150 feet south of Neal Avenue. We can choose to do one of the deductive alternates, which means we can choose to do a smaller portion of that project for less. We can do deductive alternate A, which is a base bid of $294,000. That will not require any further allocation. You don't have to approve any more money than what's already been approved. Or we can approve the deductive alternate B, which is actually less than what's been approved, which would free up some money to go back into the fund to use elsewhere if that's what you chose to do. The fourth option, city council can elect to reject all of the bids, which means that we would have to go back through a new bid process. If we go back through a new bid process, it's kind of a gamble. We might get something close or even less. The engineer feels confident that based off inflation and things that have occurred even since the bids were initially received for the 407,000, it will likely be higher. So after all the different conversations, we've obviously got multiple projects happening along Race Street. We've already got the street repairs planned out. We are planning to do a complete rebuild of South Race Street from Enon to Shelby Road. That rebuild is being funded through street improvement tax, as well as Commissioner Brooks's office, who has allocated his discretionary funds to making sure that it gets completed and done. I don't really want to replace that road without replacing the water line underneath. I think we've made that mistake historically and would like to not
Every
make that
single
mistake if we can. And South Race Street is just in absolute complete failure. So we have to replace that roadway. It needs to be replaced. So we're kind of faced with a choice of, okay, do we allocate the $150,000 additional out of water sewer fund and get it done and not have to worry about it? Or do we choose one of the deductive alternates, understanding that this water line was picked because we do have water main breaks on this particular stretch. We do have needs to upsize this water line. It does need to be addressed. So our staff recommendation was to approve up to $150,000 from water sewer fund. I don't think it's going to necessarily require that. It'll probably require somewhere closer to 117 to 120, but I don't want to have to come back and ask for more money again.
Have we
So-
got that in the budget or in the money pot?
Yes, ma'am. we do.
Okay, so if we do approve the 150,000 coming out of water and sewer, what is the remaining balance in water and sewer going to look like? Will it be healthy? Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, we're approving 407,000. And we're needing a recommendation on the additional 150. Is that
So-
what we're doing?
Yeah, so what I'm asking for tonight is kind of this is more of an informal vote. I need council guidance tonight. If everybody is in favor of approving an additional $150,000, what will happen is the engineer will draft a recommendation, the city attorney's office will draft a resolution that we'll bring back before you, at which time you would approve a resolution recommending to award the bid to that contractor.
So-
We're not awarding a bid tonight.
All right.
We're asking for your approval to allocate $150,000 of additional $150,000 of water and sewer funds to this project.
You need a vote or just a head
No,
nod?
no, we do need a vote. I
Okay,
need
okay.
a vote tonight to approve this allocation because that will ultimately require a budget amendment. And we'll need the vote to make sure that we
Okay.
do it.
How many bids did we get?
I don't have the answer to that, but I will tell you that I know there were several. I don't know the exact number. But they ranged from the $407,000 base bid. We had bids coming in at $800,000. I mean, so there was a wide ranging, which isn't abnormal on infrastructure projects. You get a pretty wide ranging bid set in those.
Can I get a refresh? Why is it going to Neil instead of not all the way down to Christie?
We cannot spend CDBG funds in the floodway. So this project is going to the point of where the floodway starts. You can't do a CDBG project anywhere in a floodway. That's why we have to stop it there.
Okay, so we
It's kind of a
need,
shame, but
yeah.
So option one covers everything.
Yes, ma'am. Option one, approving the additional $150,000 tonight will cover the full project. Yes.
And that's including the areas listed for Enon and Johnson to Enon and Vaughn,
Yes, ma'am.
because I have no idea where those streets are.
Yes,
But,
ma'am. No, that's okay.
Across the street from the.
The
Baptist
deductive
church.
alternates are literally like a block.
Okay.
If we choose one of those, we're only replacing like a block
Yeah.
of
So
water
expensive.
line. It's almost not worth even doing for that.
Okay, so you need for someone to recommend that we approve the $150,000 extra allocation
Yes, ma'am.
tonight.
That
Okay.
is what we are asking for.
Okay.
Yes.
Is everybody okay with option one? That's what, we got to do this anyway.
I still have another question.
Okay,
Okay, with this, is this replacing, not replacing, but building the curbs and everything where?
So that will be a part of the street improvement project. So there's
So that's
It's
two different things.
two different
Yes.
projects,
Okay.
yes. But
Okay.
yes, we will be doing what we call curb replacement, curb
Right.
repair, and gutter valley repair in those areas. So yes, there will be essentially a new curb and gutter all along Ray Street. Yes.
all right. Any more questions?
I think this.
Got you, girl. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for B.
Okay. I make the motion to approve the allocation of up to 150,000 of water and sewer funds for the completion of the 48-year CDBG project, water line replacement upgrade project on South Ray Street.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All right, Mindy, would you poll the council, please?
Yes, ma'am. Place one,
Aye.
place two,
Aye.
place three,
Aye.
place four,
Aye.
place five,
Aye.
motion carried.
All right, let me see what I got going here. Yep, I've torn my agenda apart, so I'm making sure I'm on the right page here. All right, C. Resolution 2023-06-01. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, approving an interlocal cooperation agreement for the Communications Center and Emergency Dispatch Services with the City of Blue Mound, Texas, excuse me, and providing an effective date. Discussion.
The city of Blue Mound has come across a need for fire dispatch service. It was a pretty urgent need. So we are actually already providing that service to them. We didn't want to let a fire department go without dispatching services. So we're already providing the service to them. This is a very similar interlocal agreement to the previous ones that we've approved. It will create an additional revenue of $35,000 for communication services, and there is no additional overhead required. So we do not have to add additional personnel or any additional equipment or anything. So it's going to be pure revenue for the city. The city of Blue Mound Fire Department's call volume is not going to overtax the system. So our current staffing needs are sufficient to be able to handle this.
Okay, cool, cool.
So they're, are these Blue Mound employees, or are they Everman employees?
So Blue Mound doesn't even have a dispatch. They have nothing right now.
So that's gonna be another Everman.
Yeah,
employee.
it'll be our dispatch center providing the service.
Okay, and how much are we getting paid for this?
$35,000 a year.
Well, we don't need, excuse me, any extra employees. They can handle the Blue Mound flow in the employees that
We don't need
got.
to add any additional.
Right,
employees.
and we're providing health and healthcare and everything.
No,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
just for dispatching services. So just 911 services.
I
So-
know, but the employee that's the dispatcher.
Oh, yes, EMD dispatching. Yes,
We're providing health insurance and dental.
yes, yeah, they're full, all the dispatchers are full-time employees, full coverage. Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this once more. How many more cities are we gonna add?
As many as I can take. It is it's a collaborative effort that has worked out very well for the benefit of all the fire departments involved and police departments involved, because everybody's on the same page. We're all using uniform dispatching services. It helps cover a lot of our costs associated with providing that dispatch. So we will continue to grow as much as we possibly can. It's essentially a business venture. This dispatch operation works very similar to our water and sewer fund, where it's becoming an enterprise venture. So the more we grow, the more revenue it creates for us to improve our softwares, improve our pay for the employees, to dump right back into the operation.
And how many cities do we have now?
This will make 9 that are full-time. They touch over 20 different fire departments. But this will give us 9 full-time dispatching for 9 full-time fire departments.
That's cool.
We touch more agency than any other dispatch center in Tarrant County.
Now, for as mileage and stuff, are we paying for are they claiming any of that or anything?
Now
I
there's,
mean, because they're driving if they live in Blue Mound, they're driving from Blue Mound, is that not correct?
no, so we're not bringing over any employees from Blue Mound. Our current employees will handle the dispatching for them.
We're
Essentially,
just taking over their city.
yeah, we're just taking over the system. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, we need somebody make a recommendation,
A motion.
a
Yes.
motion. It's getting late.
All right, I make the motion to approve resolution 2023-06-01 as read.
A second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Mindy, poll us, please.
Place 1,
Aye.
place 2,
Aye.
place 3,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, moving along. D, resolution 2023-06-02. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, approving an interlocal agreement for administrative costs funding for Section 5310 program between the Fort Worth Transportation Authority and the City of Everman, Texas for fiscal year 2023, ratifying operation thereunder as of October 1st, 2022, and providing an effective date. Do I hear a motion? Or Chief, do you want to discuss it first?
I can. This is just a renewal of the previous zip zone, Trinity zip zone agreement. The cost to the city is the $1,300. There have been issues and discussions regarding the lack of reporting from zip zone. We are now working with Commissioner Brooks's office to try to get some better transparency from them, and they are on our side on forcing zip zone to share that with us. We expected this agreement to come in at a much higher rate. Magically, I got it for $1,300. For $1,300 to continue the service, it's not a big deal.
Is that for a year?
So this agreement actually should have been approved. We're essentially backdating an agreement. The dates of this agreement were already in the cycle. It's this fiscal year. So this agreement will actually end come October. And then council will be asked to renew an agreement with them. I do not know the cost of what the next agreement will be. And until we get reporting from Zip Zone, we're not going to entertain that. So that's kind of the battle we've been facing.
Well, we're coming upon our budget
Yes, ma'am.
timeframe and we need to know something. So
Agreed.
I'm gonna push back. If they can't get us some numbers while we're doing budget, then we don't need to be doing business with them. This is a very sloppy way to do business.
Agreed. And we've shared that frustration with the commissioner's office and they are taking up the fight for us.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't mean September 25th either. We need it while we're building our budget.
No, like this month. We need to know
Yes,
this month.
yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If we decide to renew come October or whatever, could we get advertisement out to the residents that this is available?
Yes, ma'am. And we do, we advertise on the website and I know we've got flyers and things out there as well. So we have done some advertisement, but we can certainly pick that back up. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2023-06-02 as read.
Second,
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Mindy, would you poll us, please?
Place 1,
I,
place 2.
Aye.
Place 3,
Hi.
place 4,
Aye.
place 5.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We already did number 2. Wait a minute. Yes, we did. Okay. This was a big packet this week. Let's see, we're done with the first page. How about we have an executive session coming up? All right, are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
The time
No, I'm
is,
sorry. Make sure for the
Read it.
record that you cite the section.
oh, I have stuff to read. All right, executive session, section 551.071, potential agreements affecting the Everman Public Library. We will go into executive session at 7:42 p.m. We will be back.
And then I get mad because all the lights aren't on.
No action taken.
Oh, that's right, the senior citizen. Don't like.
Yes.
They like that.
Still days out.
Oh, my. And it's just.
All right, Mindy, are you ready? All right, I'm gonna call the meeting back to order out of, holy cow, we were in there that long. It's 8:28. And we are out of executive session. Check that off. All right, next is the city manager's report.
You state no action for the record.
No action was taken on the discussion in executive session. Now the city manager's report.
Got a couple of different updates for you. First, the Blue Cross Blue Shield National Fitness Campaign Fitness Court. If you've noticed over here at Pittman Park, there's an orange construction fence around. We have crews here this week who are installing the equipment for that park. It will be complete by Friday. So Gilbert is working with Blue Cross Blue Shield and the National Fitness Campaign to schedule a grand opening and ribbon cutting of that park and the media release. So we should have that to you probably this week. So kind of keep an eye on your email for when we look to schedule that ribbon cutting for that part. The Celebrate America Festival is coming right along, and chats with Chief Watley. We're going to do something a little different this year to hopefully expand on the event. We're going to open up this hall, the Civic Center, for a longer period of time to have a craft expo to allow vendors to come in here and sell crafts and things. So it'll serve as kind of dual purpose, a nice little shopping opportunity for people to come in here and shop and buy crafts and so support local craft makers, as well as a nice little cooling station because it is June in Texas. So people get an opportunity to kind of get out of the heat a little bit and come in here.
So if somebody's interested in doing something like that, who do they contact?
We've got it on social media, website, and everything. There is
Website? Okay.
Yep. There is a vendor registration link there. So they just click the vendor registration link and then they're able to go in and
Okay.
register with Chief Watley for the event.
Do they look for Celebrate America Festival or does it just say vendor?
It's on the Celebrate America Festival
Okay.
flyer itself, and they'll see a link down at the bottom to the
Okay.
vendor registration.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Vendors?
I had this, I'm horrible with the norm, but I would like, I'd like to expand it even more. So if 50 share.
I've been sharing it with a lot of people.
Really about 2 times a week, and I have been saying that, yeah, I've used the boat, so we get out of the region. I know that everybody involved, find out that sharing about the buildings, a lot, we spent a lot of money on advertising, standard, flyer. If you see smaller, our sign, so we put around the word, we're filling up the people on mediums. A large banner that came down in the last 2 days, and don't lose those. I was partway just outside, so it was up on, in Wichita. So trying to spread the word, everything we can to help spread the word, that's great. Because I want to see this place, completely still there, if it can, but
Excellent.
We've got a different band style. So if you remember when we started first doing live music, we had country the first year. Last year we had old school rock and roll. This year we're having Motown, R&B. It's a great group out of Dallas, all funk radio show. So we're looking forward to having them here and provide a different element this year. So we like mixing it up every year. We're looking forward to it. Mobile food truck park is open. We've got our first mobile food truck in there. They've been very successful so far. We've had a lot of positive feedback from the park. Things are looking good. Still waiting on Encore to come in and provide the electrical utility poles for each one of the vendors. But so far, so good. Staff did a taste test today and we approve. So it worked out pretty good. So everything is moving right along. There are 2 more approved. They have spots they go to, day, or B, or regular actually break. Got one more that is black, one more piece of the application, and then for the black, two pieces, but I mean, we've got to just the response on, still didn't need to put the word so that if those other four, some reason or another, that complete the application process, and people out in the spot, open the valve, I'd like that to go forward.
So they're not all taco stands, are they?
No, so what we, as they, he's gonna give me discretion on that, it have, just out of the promise of a system vendor, I'm not gonna allow anything more than two of the same type of group, just because I don't want to be kind of competitive edge, somebody, I don't want rivalry, just to lessen any issue.
Well, we kind of like different stuff.
Well, and it's not a,
How about a hot dog stand or
and
some?
it's not a good business model either.
No, it's
I mean,
not.
you don't take two restaurants that are very similar and put them right next door to each other, because now you're splitting your clientele. We've got a good mix. It's nice to have two similar in there, but we don't want anything more than really two similar. So the other ones that are coming in, you've got a hot dog,
Right.
one, and then we've got a sandwich and potatoes and those kinds of. So there will be a variety contained
Okay,
in the
good.
park, which will be really neat, because when you've got an argument with your spouse or significant other about where you want to eat tonight, you've got all the choices in the world in one location, and you can both still enjoy the same.
Go get your own food.
Yeah, you could actually still go enjoy it. Exactly.
Okay.
But we've had a lot of really positive feedback so far on it from both sides, both vendor and citizens. Everybody seems to be really happy. So we're looking forward to seeing that grow.
Good.
City Hall office space expansion there in the old city council chambers is going well. We're just finishing putting in some desks right now, and then we've got a cleaning crew coming on Friday, and we should be ready to move some staff around to get Public Works out of the building that they're in and over into City Hall, and make some adjustments for staffing needs as necessary. So that's looking really good. Y'all are welcome to come over and take a look at it anytime you'd like. And that's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem.
Excellent. All right, mayor's report. The mayor's on vacation this week. He can give us his report when he gets back. And that's it. We are adjourned at 8:35. Thank you, everybody.